Hey, what's up, Michael? This is a quick demo video for you for your Phoenix props and Shadow Foil props Jedi Killer Gen 2. This is installed with a Proffie. This is a 2-button setup, so your 2 switches are right here. All right, these 2 blue switches. Your upper switch here is going to be your power. Your back one is going to be your auxiliary. I have 2 small brass hat tactiles sitting under there on my chassis. All right. I did not put the red wire on here. Not something I particularly feel comfortable doing. So it is in your box, and all the holders are in your box as well. You actually have 2 sets of holders that you could choose from if you decide to go the wired route. But I did put your blue wires in there. So if you can see you can see one really well, but there is one right behind it as well. You can kind of see it in the cutouts, but you'll see it very well in person. And then I put the plug in here that you would typically use if you don't use the wire. It's just in there with some E6000. So if you do want to go the wired route, you can pop that guy right off and it'll come out pretty easy. I left your blade plug in here for now because I just wanted to show you that it had some shine through. To get to your chassis, what you want to do is unscrew this. We'll talk about the handle before we talk about the chassis. All right, but when you take this off, just kind of grab it here and pull it off. It'll come right out. Now, this middle piece also unscrews. All right, I've got it on there pretty tight. I did that on purpose because I didn't want it coming off. But what I did was I hand cranked this as tight as I could to leave it on the handle because you really kind of want this to come off as one piece. All right, I did do some weathering to the Saber, so I probably should have showed you this when I had it back on. So let's put the handle back on and just go over that real quick. So tightened up my weathering a little bit on this guy and went a different route. Not so heavy, but tried to hit all the high areas and the places that I thought it would get worn. All right, so you can kind of see that here as we twist the Saber around, and that's the weathering. All right, so we'll take this back off. I did do a revised chassis from the one that you had seen before when I did the 2 prototypes. I just thought I needed to change some things, so that's what I did. This is your chassis right here. So here's your Proffie board up top. You've got access to your SD card and your micro USB from right here. I did go ahead and glue the board down to the shelf so it didn't pop up, but I made sure you had access to everything. All right, and then right in front of the board is a kill switch right here. There's one sound font on here for now, which is my own sound font, and a copy of the config file is on the SD card because this has 3 blade styles. You have a 15 pixel accent strip right here, and then when you turn it around, you have another 15 pixel accent strip right here. So you have some nice LED action. When you look at the config, the first blade style will be your blade. The second blade style will be these 2 strips right here because they're wired together but separate from everything else. And then the third and final blade style is your actual crystal chamber. So it's going to be a little bit hard to see that in person, but there is a perforated tube in there. You can kind of see it right there. And you actually have 2 crystals that are in there. You have a bottom one and a top one. All right, so let's throw a battery in here. When you throw a battery in, it's going to be very tight. This battery tray is a lot shorter than what I would typically do because I had to make sure I backed the speaker up off the inside of the handle, which can be a little bit tricky on this guy because there's not a whole lot of room in there to do stuff. I mean, it kind of stops about right there where this red greebly is up in here, right? So it had to be exactly perfect. So when you put the battery in, it's going to be a tight fit. All right, this is your spring side, although it is lacking much of the spring. I had to cut most of that off. So when you put this in, just kind of hold the chassis, snap this in. It'll snap in nice and tight like that, and it will not come out. In fact, we will need a pair of tweezers to take that out, but we'll do that later. All right, we'll come over here and flip our switch. So you see that one LED there, and then the bottom LED strip. They are wired in unison, so you can kind of see it on my hand how they're doing the same thing. And then I've got your crystal actually pulsing. So you can see that pulsing there. Now these are on a timer, but I timed them out to just a little bit longer than what I would typically do because this Saber also has some things going on it. So I wanted you to have a chance to enjoy that. You get shine through all the way up into this grate right here, which is pretty cool. All right. when you get the battery in and you turn your kill switch on, you just come over here and throw your handle on. Your saber comes with 2 O-rings. I did not use them. I went ahead and I left them in your kit. It wasn't something that I needed. All right, but you still see your crystal pulsing here. And then we'll hit power up here. So you got that 28mm Smuggler's Outpost Elite speaker. You got some shine through back here as well, which is pretty cool. Auxiliary is right here. And your crystal chamber reacts to that. Actually, so does your chassis. You just can't see it right now, right? You've got shine through here in your blade plug, which I wanted to show you. And then twist off. You've got 1 single blade retention screw, and it's right underneath this vent. If you can see it right there, the tip of my finger, that grub screw. So we're going to go ahead and loosen that up and put a blade in. This is set up for a full-length 1-inch diameter Neopixel blade. All right. I'm just going to use my test blade. You do have a set of Carl Chen V4 Neopixel connectors in there. So you can see that right there. So if I fire this up, you'll see all those light up. So everything's looking good there. We'll go ahead and put a blade in, lock it down, and show you that it fires up a blade really well. All right. My Allen key is getting worn out. I keep saying that. So power. Got your nice red unstable blade for this. And of course, blaster bolt deflex is tapping auxiliary. Our blade lockup is holding auxiliary down and hitting the saber. You can see it right there. And then when you go horizontal with the saber, it moves closer to the middle of the blade. All right. You got your chamber all fired up. If we can zoom in on it, or focus in on it rather. Very cool, right? To play your soundtrack, it's a long press on the power. Another long press to turn it off. All right, and we'll go ahead and take the blade back out. I'm going to put your blade plug back in right now so I don't forget it. And we can just ship it that way, ship it in the saber. You can hit the pins. You can shove this all the way down and hit the pins with the blade plug if you like. It's made out of acrylic on the bottom, so you're not going to hurt anything. But what I do try to do when I put it in here is just kind of make it flush with the emitter so it looks good. All right, but we can come back over here and unscrew the handle. Twist that right off. We'll turn this on real quick and flip it off from here, which is our kill switch, and it kills power like it should. All right, so when you want to take this battery out to charge it, get you a tool, come over here from the positive side by the speaker, just kind of cradle the chassis in your hand, right, and pop the battery out. It'll pop right out for you. All right, but that is basically your Jedi Killer Gen 2. Just let me know if you have any questions. I hope that you like the way it came out. And it is my intention to get this out in the mail to you tomorrow.